Welcome back, fellow creators. It's been a good while since we've done any sort of official algorithm update video, so I thought today we would break down and explain all the recent changes to TikTok's algorithm and its user interface on the platform. I'm gonna go ahead and say that keeping up to date with what TikTok's been rolling out is basically a game of whack-a-mole at this point. Once you think you understand all the new updates, half a dozen other things come to light. All of these are indeed fulfilling legitimate issues the platform is dealing with. So let's take a moment to understand these changes. Stick around until the end of this video and we'll address some unanswered questions that actually haven't been touched upon in any videos on my channel so far. I would also encourage you to, just a recommendation, but check out last month's video because most of that information on the algorithm updates, 95% of that is still relevant today. So let's dive right into the 4 recent updates and let's talk TikTok. Let's kick things off and start by addressing the algorithm of TikTok with update 1 out of 4, the emphasis on the rewatch ratio of videos. Now, I feel that this is very common sense. A lot of us realize that watch time is crucial for video success. It's one of those make or break factors, whether or not your audience is being retained all the way through, hopefully, the full duration of your video. But what I've noticed more often in recent weeks from conversations with other fellow creators and just breaking down hundreds of videos in this past month or so is how exponentially significant the watch time becomes once it eclipses the full duration of your video. The rewatch ratio is what it's known as. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that term, rewatch ratio or rewatching is essentially once the average watch time, when you look at your analytics, once the average watch time exceeds the full duration of the video clip on TikTok. Now, traditionally how this would work on TikTok, and let's use an example. Let's just say theoretically we had a video that was 20 seconds in length, and 2 days later we looked at our analytics, it had around 500,000 views and it had 24 seconds out of 20 watched. So the average watch time was 24 seconds, the rewatch ratio was 4 seconds over the full duration of the video. What I'm finding is the situation now is almost as if up until the full duration of your video, each second is worth 1 point. Once you pass 20 seconds, it's almost as if each second is worth 2 points or 3 points or 4 points. I doubt it's that significant, but there's clearly more emphasis there. One of the metrics we've looked at is not only the watch time, but when the engagement was the same, there's a huge spectrum in the views a video is afforded, the exposure on the For You page it receives between having, let's just say, a full completion of the video, 20 seconds out of 20 seconds, and then having just a few seconds over. It's a difference of a few seconds, but it's the difference between 500,000 and several million views. So if you want to play to having a rewatch ratio with your content, there are a couple of different styles of videos you can implement. Loops are fantastic. Having a seamless, almost invisible beginning and ending to your content. Transitional style videos are great as well. Your audience many times just doesn't pick up on the ending, especially when there's a lot of fast-paced content, fast-paced cuts or wipes in your content. Another clever idea that I've seen a lot of people do in the situation that maybe those 2 past examples aren't your style, if you're in the educational space, what people have done is they've created dialogue and they've used the voiceover feature on TikTok in a way that sets up the last sentence that they speak in their videos with the very beginning sentence. So it's almost a complete loop or a cycle of dialogue, and the audience tends to catch that most of the time. They leave a comment. I've seen that be the top upvoted comment in many different videos, and people go back to watch that. And that's another tactic as well, is engagement is not inherently valuable in and of itself, but it is valuable on TikTok because it indirectly affects the watch time. When people are reading and writing comments, right, that video is looping in the background. Update number 2 out of 4, and this is one that I'm absolutely thrilled to announce, is the fact that TikTok is allowing creators to playlist their videos on their profile. Now, if you follow me over on Instagram, you know that I've been for a while anxiously waiting for TikTok to give users the ability to organize and categorize videos on their profile. Because the nature of TikTok is that once a video is done with its exposure on the For You page, unless it goes viral and ranks for a hashtag or a certain keyword on TikTok, when you search that on the discovery page, it's kind of just left to meld into the abyss of the content on your profile as it gets buried and buried deeper and deeper the more you output future videos. So to give creators, I guess, more stamina for their content, TikTok has created a playlist feature. I'm not exactly sure what the exact official title is yet. It's not mainstream. It's only available for a select few creators as of now, but it does allow you to create a playlist of videos and watch them in a predetermined order. If you click on one of these icons, you'll see a little highlight above the username that indicates that the video is part of a series. So that's super exciting. And beyond all that, TikTok, I know, has talked about giving creators the ability to pin comments in their comment threads on certain videos to highlight someone's reply, or if there's something that you think everyone should read that was left by another user, you can highlight that, similar to what I can do on YouTube in the YouTube comment section. So on that note, leave your takeaways from this video and I'll pin one of you to the very top down below. And the purpose of all this with the playlist feature that TikTok has introduced helps create the profile as a further hub of exploration. TikTok culture moves so incredibly fast, and there are so many creative ideas, and while many of them do go viral, a lot of them simply aren't given their due time or due exposure on the For You page. People view and then simply forget. So things like having the ability to playlist videos or whatever TikTok outputs later on down the line that you can rest assured we'll be covering in future videos on this channel helps us as creators better represent our profiles and ideas better and longer. Update 3 out of 4 are additional features when it comes to comment and community management. In the past few months, TikTok has been dealing heavily with spam, scams, bots, and harassment on the platform. In fact, if you read through TikTok's transparency report that they just released over these past few weeks, you can find that TikTok banned approximately 9.5 million spam and bot accounts from their platform in these past few months. Now, it is far from a perfect process. There are unfortunately legitimate creators that slip through the cracks and get flat out banned on the platform for no reason whatsoever. You can read all about the relentless repercussions and resentment that TikTok is facing on any one of its Twitter posts. But since TikTok inherently is a platform with younger audiences creating and consuming content and does take platform security and safety very, very seriously. And so as a step towards creating a more secure and safer environment, TikTok has given us as users more control over our comment sections. TikTok has introduced the filter comments tool, which allows you as a creator to choose and decide which comments will appear on your videos. And if you have this feature enabled, comments are not displayed on your videos unless you as a creator approve them using the new comment management tool. One creator actually took this an idea to an extreme and created a video in which only verified accounts could comment on it. There was a lot of sifting through in order to make that happen, but the idea ended up paying off really well. So with this feature, you can also filter certain keywords or phrases that perhaps are harmful or untrue to your video. If you ever wanted to put a limitation on how many people could comment first, or here before it goes viral as the only comment on your video, now's your chance to do so. In addition, TikTok has also created prompts that will now pop up if you're leaving a comment on someone else's video that's potentially derogatory, harmful, or rude. You can still comment at the end of the day, but you're kind of asked to reconsider. So at the very least, just be conscious of your interactions with others. The fourth update we're going to discuss is that the Q&A feature is now available and mainstream to all creators. Now, a lot of you are already aware of this, but for those of you unaware, back in mid-March, TikTok officially made the Q&A feature on your profile officially accessible for all creators. And what this feature allows you to do is basically reply very quickly and identify any sort of question in your video comments. You can reply with simply text, you can reply with a video, or you can pull from the Q&A feature on a live stream if you want to answer questions. Now, for those of you wondering, if you've not seen this feature, the Q&A feature is only available for those with creator accounts. So to turn this feature on, go to your settings and privacy page, select creator, tap Q&A, and then hit the turn on Q&A button to activate the feature. And I want to mention very quickly before we move on to a few new ideas that the reason why this Q&A feature is so important is because, first of all, it allows us as creators to start focus on cultivating more of a community within our profile, which is something that TikTok is heavily emphasizing in 2021. If you're not making any sort of personal connection with their audience, there really is, at the end of the day, no seeds of memorability being planted in their minds, and they're going to very quickly forget who you are. If you have somewhat of an active fan base, you are going to get questions suggested, you're going to get videos recommended for you to film that sometimes in the Q&A feature will have dozens, if not hundreds or even thousands of upvotes. This is an illustration of what people want to see, and you're able to some extent, especially if you have a defined niche or content style, in a way take out all the guesswork and put out a video with already primed viewers. Speaking of questions, let's take these last few minutes here and address a few topics or ideas that a lot of you wanted me to cover, including the obvious: why are my views decreasing? Now, I do have a full-fledged video on this topic. Check that out below if you're interested. But I will say objectively that organic exposure on TikTok is still a bit slower than usual, or it has been previously. That's totally normal. Things have definitely picked up for a lot of creators since last month, which I'm absolutely thrilled to hear. But in general, the view decrease comes down to a couple things, including an increase in paid advertising, an emphasis on longer and more original content that is not utilizing trending songs and sounds. That's not to say those aren't important. Create a balance between those, but the creative creators that are making the top tier videos each and every week are sticking to a lot of original audio that is unique to that video clip. And the last thing is simply a more strict audio and visual copyright system. Speaking of limited audio, actually, a lot of you have asked, what does that little yellow record label mean when you see it on a sound on TikTok? We're seeing this more and more often. I've come across it myself, so I thought I would address it. There's two reasons why that little record label is going to be yellow. Number one, you're a business account on TikTok and you're not able to use that sound because it is mainstream and copyrighted. It is a public artist and you're not able to do so as a business account. You can as a creator. Or secondly, and most probably, it is limited in your country or your territory because it is a copyrighted sound or there is some issue involved with that audio. So just to give you a quick example, the Wire In remix by Tyler April, which laid the foundation for billions and billions of video views on TikTok and ignited the VV dance trend, was actually recently restricted from being used on the platform in most territories around the world due to the fact that the dance associated with that audio originates from a K-pop band named Red Velvet, and no attribution was given to them. This ended up sparking a lot of controversy and outrage, and TikTok ended up just putting its foot down and pulled the audio from the platform a few weeks ago. Now, it'll likely be reinstated soon, or at the very least just re-uploaded to the platform. This happens all the time, but especially on a platform like TikTok that is heavily rooted in song and dance, it's necessary to give due attribution and credit to the originators of certain songs, dances, or sounds before they end up blowing up to billions and billions of eyeballs and no one knows where it came from in the first place. Because a lot of these are career-changing events, and we want to make sure that it goes back to its original source. Remember the mountain of outrage that erupted when the creator of the Renegade dance was thrown to the wayside? Well, that's basically what TikTok is trying to avoid a 2.0 version of. So I think we'll wrap up the video there. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed this information. I'm always intrigued by your thoughts on these TikTok changes, so drop a comment down below and I'll do my best to reply. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, we'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Cheers.